Hello teachers, tutors and anyone who would like to teach international students. In this video I'm going to help you find and teach international students. And no, I'm not an agent and I'm not going to take a fee, and keep watching and I'm going to tell you how to do it alone with no agencies. So you can keep 100% of that money for you. So maybe you're already teaching online and you want to move some of your evening work to being in the daytime, but it's not really feasible because a lot of children in the UK are in school then. Who are you going to teach? Well, there is the home ed market, which is great, and there's many children who are home educated and who have tutors online. I teach many myself, but there is a huge vast world out there with so many students in that you will be able to teach. In this video, you will learn about what market is best for you, and spoiler alert, it's not always the biggest. No, it's not always going to be China. And there is a free download from my Ko-fi page with 21 ideas of what you can teach to international students. So why should you trust me to tell you about international teaching? Well, when I first started teaching, which was online about 4 to 5 years ago, my very first student was an international student, and actually my second. And that very first student I still teach today, and I teach their sibling. So I've been teaching international students. I've been finding them independently myself for many years, and I currently teach children dotted all around the world. So which market, which country is best for you? And it's not always the biggest market. A lot of people think,
oh, I really want to get into the Chinese market and teach Chinese students. There are like over 1 billion Chinese people. There must be so many people wanting my services.
Yes, there probably are a lot of people, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right market for you. In 2021, the Chinese government brought in more regulation for online teaching. And at that point, a lot of people who were working for lots of ESL companies, English as a second language companies, a lot of them went independent. So it started to get a little bit trickier then. So you need to kind of think deeply about your expertise and your experience and what you want to teach, what you enjoy teaching. You can teach anything that you're good at. So ask your friend, hey, what am I good at? And they will tell you. And honestly, sometimes it's really surprising when you ask a friend that, what they come up with. So think about what you're good at and what you can teach. Your search might be subject specific. You might be really good at teaching maths, or you might really want to teach English as a second language, or maybe Spanish, or whatever it is. And if you're still not sure, I have 21 ideas that you could teach, and that is on my Ko-fi page. You can download it for free, and hopefully it will give you an idea if you're sitting there thinking,
I don't know what I can teach. What am I good at?
Hopefully there'll be some ideas on this for you. Once you've decided your niche, your area, what you're going to teach, we need to think about the time zone that you're going to teach in. So time zones can be really tricky sometimes. Especially with daylight saving in the UK, things can get really confusing. So you need to pick an area with a time zone that's going to work for you, it's going to work for your family, it's going to work for your teaching. Do you want to work late in the evening? If you want to work late in the evening when your children have gone to bed, then you're looking at USA, Canada, South America, this kind of thing. If you want to work during the day, then Southeast Asia, China, Japan is really good for early mornings. In the afternoon, when children come home from schools in the Middle East, often parents are looking for extra tuition. That's quite good for early afternoon time. Whatever it is that you're going to teach to whoever, it's really important that you pitch your advertising and you pitch your price right. And to do this, you need to do some research. So you need to get into communities where these parents are, and you need to compare what other people are doing and what parents say to be able to figure out what you are going to charge for your services. And there are several ways that you can do this. So let's say, for example, you would like to teach IGCSE to students at international school in Dubai or somewhere in the Middle East. Then you should join those mums in Dubai groups. You should join those expat groups. Look around, do a search for tutors, see what people are asking for, see what people want, and then you can ask them and you can say what would be helpful, what would you be willing to pay, and then you will get an idea of what you can charge and what the market's like. It's really important to research it before you go in there. Look at what other people are doing, because that will give you a really good idea. You can also use Instagram, and I would look at international schools, have a little nosy at their websites, have a little look at their accounts on Instagram. Maybe I'll start commenting, maybe I'll start following some of the people who follow those international schools, and then maybe their followers will follow me. So I'm not going on Instagram and following other tutors or following teachers. I'm going on there and I'm being really specific with who I want to target, who I want to follow. So by following these people, they will give me ideas about their lifestyle, about what they're up to, and maybe we can make some connections through that. Instagram's really interesting because it really niches you very, very quickly. Whatever content that you are interacting with is going to show you more of that content. And by default, it's going to show your content to that niche. So if you are following international schools and parents of people in international schools in Dubai, people who are interested in education, fashion in the Middle East, shopping in the Middle East, this kind of thing, then that's what you need to be following. And then hopefully they are going to follow you back. And you can build up a little community. Then you can start to create content that targets that. You can think about problems that they have and what problem you are going to solve for them. So perhaps they think that their child is not getting enough one-to-one support in school, or maybe they're concerned that their child is not going to pass their exams, something like this. And then that's where you come in. If you decide, hey, Amy, actually, I really want to teach in China, then I would say go for it. And it doesn't matter that you don't speak Chinese. It's been helpful for me because I do speak some basic Chinese. So it's been a little bit more helpful kind of gaining followers in that region. I actually don't teach many Chinese students because I just don't have capacity at the moment. I'm not offering the kind of things that they're looking for. And the best thing to do for China is download the app Xiaohongshu. This is Red Note. It's basically like the Chinese Instagram. So it started off as a fashion kind of social media where people in kind of tier 1 and tier 2 cities, so big cities in China, would post their content. So it's mainly women that are on this platform. So again, you'd have to kind of think about your advertising there. People are generally kind of 30s, 40s, so maybe kind of slightly older audience. And then you can start to post mainly video content for the Chinese market. And don't forget, you can repurpose your content. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, what else is there? Everything. You can repurpose it. So even though you have like the footage and the videos, you can slightly change your text for whatever audience that you're aiming at. So in China, it doesn't matter that you're using English, it's fine. You can use the Translate facility. Google Translate is great if you want to translate into Chinese. What I would say is it's pretty strict on you blatantly advertising your services. So you have to kind of be quite subtle, ask people to message you, or you could get yourself set up with a WeChat. That's like the WhatsApp, I guess. So often conversations would go off Xiaohongshu onto WeChat. Sometimes you can kind of subtly embed your WeChat on there, but I don't really recommend doing that too much. I think Xiaohongshu is just enough to make the connections with the people, and people will ask you. They'll probably want to teach you Chinese, but they will also have connections, and you might even find some Chinese agents that will contact you that way. Which, talking of agents, we will talk about that now. There are many people in the UK who are stating that they're experts in the international field. So a lot of these people, they are agents and they are working on behalf of other agents in China, and they are making lots of connections and they are able to give you Chinese students. Now, that's fine, but these tutors in the UK that are doing this are taking a cut of what you own. And not only are they taking a cut, but the agent in China is also taking a cut. So the parent is paying whatever they're paying, agent in China is taking a cut, and the agent in the UK is taking a cut. They're not experts in finding international students. They are just people with connections to agents, basically. So if you download their freebie or whatever, it doesn't really give you that much information on how to do it yourself. But if you go to Douyin or Xiaohongshu, then you will be able to make those connections yourself. And it's not about finding students. Like, a lot of people say to me, oh, Amy, how do I find students? It's about students finding you. South Korea is another huge market. I actually lived in South Korea for a couple of years and I taught students in South Korea. Parents are relatively affluent, they value education, and they are willing to pay for native teachers. They pay for them in person and they pay for them online. They also are very goal focused, so things like TOEIC exams, English language exams, they will really want the students to prepare, and they push their students a lot. So they go to regular school, then they might go to a language school afterwards, and then they might have a tutor again at the weekend. So Korean social media, again, Instagram is really good for this. You can look on Facebook groups. There is Naver, which is the Korean, a big Korean kind of network platform. I definitely recommend South Korea as a very lucrative, very, very big market. Taiwan too, very similar deal. And don't kind of compare yourself to other tutors. So maybe you'll meet somebody who's like, oh, you know, I'm teaching like 500 Chinese students a day. Don't compare yourself to them, because everybody is unique. Everyone's offer is unique. You don't know how much they're getting paid. You don't know whether it's in line with you and your qualifications. So what's ideal for one person is not always for another person. Many students that I teach are actually UK citizens but living abroad, so either expats with children in international schools. That's quite I teach quite a lot of those families. Digital nomads with children kind of living overseas, people who are traveling around Europe in camper vans, this kind of stuff. So this kind of world schooling market. And I'm not going to talk about that too much because I was on a Twinkle podcast actually last year talking about that. So that is a really good one to watch if you want to know about world schoolers. So I hope you have found this useful. If you have learned something, you might want to give this a like. And if you've learned 2 new things, maybe you could subscribe and share the video. Don't forget to go to my Ko-fi page to download the ways that you can teach internationally. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.